Good morning. This is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and I'm here with Sydney. She's my new little puppy. Yeah, she's trying to give me kisses. She messes up my glasses every day. Say good morning, Sydney. Say hello to everyone. Yeah, she's a good girl. She's getting big, and guess what she already knows how to do? She knows how to scratch on the back door when she has to go potty. So she's doing a really good job. Smart little puppy. She's a mini Aussie, and not quite, just about 10 weeks on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them about her
So
bells.
about her bills. Oh yeah, I got her this special bill off of Amazon, and it's extra loud, so I don't accidentally step on her. Here you go, Madeline. I'm gonna give her to Madeline, so she's got the wiggles. Madeline, if she does have to go potty, there is a leash in my pocket. So good morning, everyone. This is awesome. Today we're going to be talking about my 3 favorite cast-ons and why I like them and the pros and cons of each, and how we can use these cast-ons when we're making our sweaters to make our projects look lovely and make sure they're nice and loose, right, Jim? So every week we have a drawing, and for this last week it was for this lovely Bravo baby alpaca and this gray color one. And so this is made in Peru. It's 100% baby alpaca, and I use this Bravo all the time for all different kinds of things. Matter of fact, I made myself a pair of gloves out of this Bravo, this exact colorway, and they're my favorite. They're absolutely my favorite gloves because the hollow core fiber keeps my hands warm, and it's so soft on my hands. And actually, it's pretty durable too. They look good still, right? My gloves.
You got to do the snow blowing.
Yes, I've been doing snow plowing since Jim had his knee done. Oh, well, actually, and I had to do it. Well, it wasn't snowing back then when you had your other knee done, but I've been doing a lot of snow plowing. We've gotten a lot of snow, and so I have kept my hands nice and toasty. Jim used to have to, when he'd do it, he'd wear heated gloves that are charged on a battery. And all I have to do is put my alpaca gloves on, and they're tiny little gloves, so they fit right in my pocket. And I bet they're just about as warm as Jim's heated gloves. They're fantastic. So for the prize for today, I was thinking we could try some superwash. And this is superwash merino made in Peru. And it's one of our yarns. And yes, it's Coeur d'Alene superwash merino. And I thought maybe the sapphire color or maybe barn door red. So you guys choose which color you think is best, and then we can send it out to our customers. Sapphire blue or barn door red. Oh, okay. Red or blue is fine. And then you can get entered to win when you post comments in that comment section. Hey, if you have a great pattern that you're working on, why don't you share it with us so that we can take a look at what you're doing too. I love getting new ideas for new patterns for myself, and then we can share with each other and learn from each other.
Where they're from.
Yes, don't forget to let us know where you're from. And I don't know if you're having a lot of snow right now, but we've had a lot of snow lately, and it's been actually very pretty. It's cold though. It's cold. Perfect time to wear alpaca. Totally perfect time. So I made this little board of some cast-ons, and I thought, Jim, I would just come around and show them.
I'm going to hold it up to this way.
Yeah, I can show you the cast-ons. Here's my board. Can you see it, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some of my favorite cast-ons. I'll tell you why. Let's sit down and take a look at them. These are my pretend little sweaters. I just made these little swatches so that we could take a look and see what the cast-ons are like. And they're using, I cast on with the actual same size needle and that I knit with. And let's take a look at these. So this first one is the long tail cast on. I'm just going to put them right next to each other. And then the next one that I love this German twisted cast on. And this one is, it's a super nice cast on. What I like about it is it adds a little extra yarn to each stitch when you're making it with that extra twist that you do. And if you can see, it's pretty stretchy and it looks really nice. I use this cast on all the time.
What are your favorite projects like for that?
For the German twisted? I use it for all different kinds of things, not just sweaters. I use it just about for anything. I actually, the long tail cast on is what we teach begin to knit students. And what I like about this one is it it's easy for beginning students to learn how to do. And I think it's important when you're casting on that you use the one that you're comfortable with. Because if you're really comfortable with a cast on, the chance that that cast on is going to look really good is going to be pretty high. And so you can see by looking at this cast on that it's plenty stretchy.
What's unique about it?
This long tail cast on, like I said, it is great for beginning knitters because it's easy to do. I'm going to show them how to do each of the cast ons in just a minute here. So, but you can see, let's see, if they have this about the same amount of stitches cast on, the German twisted cast on is just ever so slightly bigger. Do you see that? It just stretches out just a little tiny bit bigger. So you can kind of see that German twisted, because each stitch has a little extra yarn in it that makes up the stitch, and that's why it's a little bit bigger. Now this cable cast on, I really like this cast on too. This one it's the same amount of stitches too, and you can see that it has a lot of yarn in it as well. And I'm not sure if it's because it was the last swatch that I did, but it has the same, these all have the same stitch count, but see how the cable cast on is really wide and it gives you a lot of stretch for the cast on. I really liked it. I use the cable cast on all the time. I mean, for a lot of different things. It's just a super nice, roomy cast on that works terrific. So I thought maybe we could just go over these cast-ons real quick. For those of you who haven't seen the different cast-ons, let's just do about 10 stitches in each one. So, and we will save the cable cast-on for the very last, because the cable cast-on does not require a tail to make it. And both the long tail and the German twisted cast-on require a tail to make the stitches. So I was thinking I will just do 10 stitches of each one. So for the long tail cast on, you go up the thumb, over the index finger, and back through that hole that you created. Up the thumb, over the index finger, and back through that hole. See, and you don't have to let go. And I forgot to tell you that when you set up for the long tail cast on, it's like a teepee. You open up the strands of yarn and you put your index finger in there and you grab the strands with your pinky and you hold them and you put your thumb on one side and the index finger on the other, and then you bring it down much like a slingshot, right? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, let's look at the German twisted cast on. The German twisted cast on is very similar to the long tail cast on. You set it up the same way, but you go like this.
What are you doing?
That's the German twisted cast on. So you go swing, woo, right past the thumb, into the center of the thumb, over the index finger, and back through that hole. Do you see that? Does it look confusing? Maybe for some people, huh? 2. So swing to the back, into the center, around the index finger, and back through that little hole that you came from. So that's 2.
And then zoom in and show them what it looks like.
It looks similar.
Right.
But do you see how it has like a little pearl bumps? This one has like knit stitches all along. This one has little tiny pearl bumps. Interesting, huh? So it goes like this. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's 10 stitches of that German. We have the long tail cast on, and then right next to it is the German twisted cast on. Do you see the difference? This one is not as substantial. It doesn't stick out as much as the German twisted cast on does. See how the German twisted cast on almost have little pearl bumps right above the knit stitches. I really like that German twisted cast on. It's so fantastic. And so then let me show you the cable cast on. So there's 2 different, you can use the cable cast on or you can use the knitted cast on. And I'm just going to move these out of the way for a second. Okay, so if you were going to do the cable cast on, which was this sample right here that I did, okay, watch. You go between the first 2 stitches, come back out, put the left-hand leg on the needle. Go between the 2 stitches, left-hand leg on the needle. Between the 2 stitches, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. And you see how I'm not taking my needle out. I just reinsert it. Sometimes people reset every single time, and to me that slows you down. So here is the cable cast on. Here's one side of it and the other side of it. Is that cool? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice cast on too. What I really like about the cable cast on is that it doesn't require a tail to make it, to make half of the stitch. Another cast on that's very popular with some people, my friend Shelley likes to use that in place of the cable cast on. It's called a knitted cast on. And I don't have it in my sample one, but it's very popular too. You just pretend as if you're going to knit, and then you bring the stitch through and put it on the left-hand needle. Excuse me, the left leg goes in the back. And then you would knit another stitch, left leg goes in the back. Do you see how I'm keeping my needle in position, putting that left hand leg in the back, and not taking my needle off of my work? Because that makes you do it faster. And I like going faster. So I keep my needle in place and don't reset the whole thing every time. Just keep it and keep her going. So here is, if you look right here, this cast on right here is the cable cast on, and this cast on right here is a knitted cast on. Interesting, huh? Is that cool? Yeah. And they're both fantastic. Okay, so now let's get to the part where we talk about how to make our cast on. Whatever cast on that we like the best is the one that we should use. And I have 3 tips for you for making your cast on better. Okay, here's my 3 tips. You can cast on with a needle 2 sizes larger than the one you'll be knitting with. And I would say don't skip this. Okay, every time I skip this little step, I regret it. Because here's the thing, you can tell yourself, bind off loosely. Oh yeah, bind off loosely. But the thing is if you bind off loosely, then, how do I say it? That's like when I first started to knit, they're like, don't knit too tight. Well, I kind of knit the way that I knit. I kind of knit tight. But I would be knitting along and I'd say, okay, I'm not going to knit too tight. So I'd knit nice and loose, right? For about 5 minutes, right? Then I would forget what I was doing. And because I'd be talking, right? And I'm in a knitting group or whatever. What do? I go back to knitting the way that I knit. So I quickly learned that messes up your gauge. It makes part of your work look great and part of your work, so you're going small, large, depending on what you're thinking about, right? So what I learned is if I'm knitting too tight and my actual fabric that I'm creating is too tight, then all I have to do is go up 1 needle size, or maybe 2, depends. You go up a needle size instead of trying to force yourself to knit looser. So that goes with that cast on or bind off. Either way, it works. Go up a needle size or 2 and you will have much better luck. For some people, they may only need to go up 1 needle size, and for some people, they may absolutely need to go up 2 needle size to get the effect that they're looking for. And what we're really looking for in all of this is when we go to put that sweater over our head, or when we go to put our mittens on our wrist, We don't want that like a tourniquet effect where the cast on is too tight. Or have you ever tried on gloves where the thumb hole is too tight? It just makes you want to take it off. And it's just such a shame to create something that is so beautiful and then bind off too tightly. It's not good. So if you can remember, and if you can get used to going up a needle size or two when you're casting on, using your favorite cast on method, whatever that might be, for me, these are some of the ones that I like. Maybe you like different ones. Maybe you're more comfortable doing, I don't know, whatever cast on that you like. There's a bunch. Yeah, you guys post your favorite cast-ons in the notes, and then you can be entered for the prize this week. That's a great idea. So, number 2, my second trick is what I already told you. If you like a cast-on and you're comfortable doing a cast-on, use that cast-on because it's going to look better for you because that's what you're used to. That's what you feel comfortable with, and it's going to look good. So I would say don't, if something is working and it's not broken, don't fix it unless you're me and you like to mess around and redo stuff over and over and learn from it. That's what I like to do. But if you don't like to do it and you actually just want your project to look beautiful, choose the cast on that you enjoy and then just use a needle or two larger and then knit right off of it onto the needles that you're going to be working with. It's super easy.
There's a comment here that says, and also check your gauge then when you do it.
Yeah. Totally. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. And if you're knitting a sweater, which other knitters have had problems with the neck opening be too tight. Sometimes designers, they design a beautiful sweater and you want to make it. But then you read in the notes and it says, oh, well, this sweater was falling off my shoulders, meaning the neck hole is too big, right? Or I can't fit it over my head because it's too tight. So here's a simple solution for that problem. And I've done it many times. It works great. If it's too tight, cast on for a larger size, right? Mm-hmm. And then on the first round of stockinette stitch, you can just use knit 2 together and decrease those stitches back down to the correct stitch count that you'll be knitting the sweater for. Or if the sweater is too loose around the neckline, cast on a smaller size. And on the first row of stockinette stitch, increase your stitch count back up to what you're going to be using. And then, if you're going to cast on a larger size, you'll have to decrease the stitch count back down to the sweater size that you're going to be using. Yeah, but it works great. I've done both of those things. And sometimes people will just say, I don't want to do the sweater because the sweater is not designed correctly. It doesn't look good. But if the whole sweater looks beautiful, except for the neckline, that's an easy fix. There's a lot of sweaters out there and a lot of sweaters that are not, not desirable. So if you find one that you really like and all it has, the only flaw that it has is the neckline is either too big or too small, easy, just fix it. Think outside that box, go up or down a size depending on which problem you have, and get her done. Yeah, it works great. So yes, the cable cast on, the long tail cast on, and my German twisted cast on are all some of my favorite cast ons, and they work great for us. So let's take a look and see what our prize is for today. Is a Bravo in the charcoal color, and Michelle Lane, you won the yarn for the last week's yarn. And yes, it's charcoal color and it is so fantastic. Oh my goodness. All you have to do is get in contact with customer service at alpacadirect.com and give us your address and we can send this lovely yarn out in the mail to you and maybe you can make some gloves for yourself.
Show her the brand it is.
Yes. Oh yes. It's Bravo Alpaca. And it's made in Peru, baby alpaca made in Peru. Yeah, brand. And I love this charcoal colorway because it's kind of, it has like the flecks of the white color and then the gray in it. It's kind of a multi-tonal yarn. It's beautiful. I love it. It goes with anything. It goes with all my jackets. That's why I like it so much. And then on this next week, I was thinking that we could talk about the magic loop method. I was going to talk about our gloves, the fingertips on the gloves, but there has been some request for us to talk about the magic loop method and how easy it is. If it's one of your goals for this year to learn how to do the magic loop method, oh my word, if you learn this skill, you are going to be loving life and knitting, because using the magic loop method is so useful. I use it for so many things. I mean, I use it almost every day. Don't you think, Jim?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it is a fantastic skill to learn. And there's just a few basic things you need to remember to get going on the magic loop method. And oh my word, it opens up a whole new world for you. Yeah, so that's fantastic. And don't forget, for those of you who haven't had a chance yet, to vote on the colorway for this next week, which is 2 skeins of either blue or red.
And that's the Coeur d'Alene yarns too.
Yes, and this is superwash merino, which is machine washable merino wool that can make beautiful. This would make a really cute little coat very
And
easily.
those are on our site website.
Yes, it's on the website at Alpaca Direct. So I hope all of you have a great week out there, and I will see you next Tuesday.